So we were one of the first commercial LED facilities dedicated solely to growing cannabis in the country. And over the years, what we've done is we've continued to pull out costs, reduce our dependence on energy, certain types of energy rather, and create all sorts of efficiencies that make it now such that we can for every 10,000 square feet of canopy, I need at best 2 employees to run my entire garden. Which is, when you think about, and I don't know if anyone is familiar with cannabis metrics in cultivation or what have you, but for the average grower out there growing in, let's say, cocoa or using an ebb and flow hydroponic technique with high pressure sodium lights, with about 10,000 square feet of canopy, they typically have 4 to 5 employees. And so just the efficiencies that we've been able to create with an aeroponic process has made us one of the sort of more well thought out commercial cultivators in the industry. And so, when you think about the fact that the vast majority of your licensed cannabis right now is being cultivated indoors, what does it take to do that, right? From an environmental standpoint? Well, we have to go in and we literally have to create an environment and play Mother Nature for a period of about 16 to 18 weeks in order to effectively cultivate one crop, right? So that means we have to be the sun. That means that we have to be the wind. We have to set up the environment, the temperature, the humidity, and the amount of CO2 in the air, the amount of oxygen in the root base, and all of that. Each one of those has a significant impact on the environment. Just the move from high pressure sodium lights to LED lights cut our electric bill down by 2/3. That was a massive savings for our system and gave us a massive competitive advantage in terms of the price of or the amount of margin that we had in the price of a pound of cannabis. That having been said, just the energy savings alone allows us to be 3 times bigger, but still have the same cost infrastructure as a competitor or what have you. So for every 1 square foot, we can have 3 square feet of canopy at the same infrastructure cost that they have, barring rent. That is a massive opportunity. And what we're seeing right now is the growth of a certain sector of cannabis where large, big scale cultivators, people that are in the 75,000 square foot facilities and 100,000 square foot facilities or more are bringing on consultants to help them think about the impact on the environment. Certainly cities that have decided to become production centers are very focused. You need look no further than California to figure out that there is a huge focus on the environmental impact that indoor cultivation can have on not just your own cost of energy, but the impact to the environment and everyone's cost of energy. And so there's being born right now a whole environmental consultancy that is consulting with both governments and consulting with large scale cultivators on how they can actually basically get in and reduce their carbon footprint, reduce their impact on the environment, produce sustainably, and produce in a clean and pest and foodborne illness-free sort of way.
Thank you so much, Corey. So we started a couple of minutes late. I think we have time for at least one question live. Corey, if you can put your information in there, if people would like to contact you or reach out to you, maybe even for invitations to further panels, and I'll put mine as well. But is there anyone that would like to, ask one question? Feel free to unmute.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Harris. I've connected with both of you on LinkedIn. This is a fascinating discussion. I live in Houston, Texas, and I went to a college that has a 700 plus acre farm, Prairie View A&M University. I never looked at that farm while I was there because my major was not agriculture, but I now realize how important that farm is. I have began endeavoring a pivot to my career into cybersecurity, and I'm very interested in agriculture, cybersecurity. And so I was wondering what you think about that, Ms. Marshall, from a writing perspective, and what you think about that, Mr. Barnett, from a business owner perspective, if I was to look more closely into security around cannabis.
So we are short on time. That's a really, really wonderful question. And I do have your email. I'm wondering if I can follow up with you and give you my lengthier one. But short answer, at Olive Harvey, we are looking for intersectional kind of opportunities for workforce development. We do realize that as states do become legal, they will need supports and resources. You also have the opportunity to work with businesses that will serve the cannabis sector as they come along. They will need cybersecurity services as well, not just the plant touching ones. And so Corey lifts up crypto, presents a whole host of other problems as well.
I was responding to one of the prior comments about the cryptocurrencies, and so I've just been reading the questions that have come by, and I felt like I'd chime in on that one.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to honor everybody's time, and Tisha gave me a little nudge. So I will wrap up by saying thank you so much for the invitation. This is what we also need to do. The fact that I published that article, Corey gave me the opportunity to interview him. He made himself available and accessible, but only after I took the initiative to ask, hey, how do I get published? I put that on LinkedIn, and somebody saw it and then invited him and I to be here. When you see something, say something. And that's how it is we can end up making a very equitable and inclusive cannabis sector, in my opinion.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on that just ever so briefly, it is so important that you act. Whenever you see an opportunity, so many people fail solely because they don't act. And you would be surprised how many people have great ideas that just go unexecuted upon simply because of inaction. So you can change your whole world if you would just act. And if you would just act with commitment and passion, then there are people out here who have access that will give it to you. But you do have to be sincere in your commitment, and you do have to act.
Thank you so much, everyone, for this powerful presentation about cannabis. I hope it answered a lot of the questions that came up before you began speaking and during. I saw you responding to the questions that were in the chat box. Now we're going to welcome Tashane Brown, who is a MEC alum and a founder of hoarding specialist. She's of a hoarding specialist company and regular cleaning company called Noro Trend Maids and Pros. Tashane, I would like to welcome you to the floor and tell us a little bit more about yourself. And we'd like to hear from you about how you found the time and the effort to raise capital for your business.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I am a MEC alum, and I'm very proud because Medgar Evers College, and specifically the School of Business, has shaped me into the woman I am today. So I'm very honored to be here among these great panelists. So I started New Era Trend Maids and Pros in 2011. I started it to, first of all, create an income for my child and myself. I was a single mom, still am a single mom. And so having to take care of my son and myself and having challenges before, I wanted to give my son the life that I think he deserved. And so having my own income was very important to me. So that's really, to be honest, why I started my business. As I delved deeper into exploring why I want to do my business, I realized that there was a need that was unable to be filled in the community. So I really started my business to provide services to elderly clients, people who are mentally ill, who have hoarding tendencies. So they would harbor things that they don't particularly need, that is unsafe for them. So I saw that need and I decided to fill that gap. However, I was unable to find investment opportunities for a first-time business owner, and especially as a woman business owner, which I will later on get into. When I was looking for investment at the time in 2011, everywhere I visited, everywhere I went to, I was told I was not qualified. They had stringent qualifications that were placed on me, such as I needed more income. My income was not enough, which that's why I'm starting a business. Of course, I don't have income, but not having enough income at the time, I was told I'm unqualified. I needed to establish credit. So what happened is I had just became an immigrant in 2008, and I was back and forth in my country. So I was not really able to establish income, credit. So hearing that I don't have enough credit for someone to lend me money was really challenging. And so I did this. I enrolled in Medgar Evers College in 2011 because I wanted to get business more, resources, find out what I want, where I can go to get services. Initially, that was my intention. I did go over though into public administration, but I also did learn a lot from the School of Business. So being at Medgar Evers College in 2011, I started learning and understanding where I need to go and the places I need, the people I need to speak with rather, on where to get opportunities for someone who is told that no income, no credit is a disparity for me. I started working while I'm researching my business. I started working as an OMLT. And so every dollar that I receive, I put down 10% of that. I had a vision. I knew exactly what I wanted, but I know that I had to find resources and I had to save. So a lot of my investment came from money I saved, my tax return that I got every year. For the past 3 years up to 2011, I would save my tax return. And so that's how I really invest in my business. Family members, friends, no one believed in me. People were like, what, you're cleaning people's houses? Obviously, they don't want to clean their houses. That is why they have a hoarding problem. No one is gonna pay you. But I stayed true to my vision and I started my business in 2011. This journey has not always been smooth. It has not always been exactly what I wanted it to be, but I asked questions. That's one of the things I made sure that I asked questions. I got out of my comfort zone and I was daring to form relationships with people that you would probably believe, oh, they don't have time for this little girl from the Caribbean. She don't know what she's doing. They listen to me because one thing I learned in doing my research and going to these workshops was about my elevator pitch. So I made sure for 30 seconds of these busy people time, I go up to them and let them know exactly what I wanted, where I want to see my vision go, and how I plan to better my community. And so them listening to me, I was able to, not everybody, they listen, but not everybody really reached out after. But just one little sentence at a time, sometimes from them, I was able to form my own opinion or take some type of learning from it, So I was able to use these relationships, mini relationships. In my head, they're my friends. Probably to them, I'm not their friend, but in my head, they're my friends. So I made sure whatever information I get from them, I use that for my own opportunities. realizing that disparities in my neighborhood made me want to continue. So seeing that there were disparities such as a lot of single moms like myself were not able to get income that's fruitful to them and their family. So they'll get these menial jobs that doesn't make sense, that by the end of the day, they get paid nothing. So I wanted to make sure that as a fellow single mom, I created these opportunities for people so that they too can live a fulfilling life. So I would always be like $2 above the minimum wage, always. When it was $10, I was like $12. So I always made sure I do that in order to help other women. So learning and seeing the disparities in my neighborhood made me want to even continue more.
How have you continued? Thank you for that. How have you continued to bring monies as needed into your business, particularly during the pandemic?
So in the pandemic, I had to learn. So one of the things I had to learn was that there are changes in my line of business. I know, of course, I was always doing deep cleaning. I was always doing sanitizing, but I had to learn that we now have a situation in our community that has to be tackled by services such as my own. So I had to get new certificates, I had to purchase new equipment, and I had to invest in training. So seeing that this is going on, and I don't want my employees to lose income because of these new changes, because we lost at least 30 customers at the beginning of the pandemic. We were partnering with Amazon. Amazon brought us a lot of opportunities, a lot of connections, and I lost a lot of that. I lost people who were regular paying clients, recurring clients, because now businesses are closed down, people don't want people in their homes, so we had to close down temporarily. But when the governor said, you know what, these are essential businesses, and I saw that we were among those essential businesses, I had to think quick. I had to say, you know what, we are going to have to create these services to help small businesses. And so joining the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce was one of my blessings in 2011. That's one of the things that made me be even more motivated, because our company was the one who sanitized the entire Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce floor. And so seeing that, okay, wow, there's really is a need, I was able to create employment for my employees and myself, made me want to continue. There was something also by the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce that's called the PPP program, where they gave small businesses $2,000 to basically get their businesses sanitized and so on, so they could get back to work and create some type of normalcy for their employees. I was on that program, and I was also able to clean companies that, you know, wanted to get back to work, make sure they're employed, just to boost employee morale, you know. So we were able to provide services under that program, and so we had to keep on so we were able to keep on employing people. Now, I had to also be creative. I had to not depend on just the network I know. I had to step out of my network. I had to work on my website. I had to make sure people know that we are offering these services. We are certified, and our employees too are certified. I think you're muted.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I was muted. Thank you for that. So now that you told us how you got investors and how you built your own investment, and you told us how you're faring during the pandemic. Now that we are moving into an era where more things will open, like you said, and the governor has started allowing more businesses to begin going back into business. And with your particular service, what plans do you have to take that and use your cleaning business, for example, to get others ready for the clients that are coming in to their businesses, and or just for families to get themselves together for any things that they plan on doing with the help of using a company like yours? What are your plans for the future?
Okay, so Raquel, I'm gonna be frank with you. I have to keep researching. I have to make sure I keep on top of things. it's, to me, it's like the CDC and the EPA, the rules rotate. So I have to make sure I keep on top of it, make sure that our employees are trained. Does it take a lot of money out of the business to train? Yes. But what I've learned over the years in investing in my own self is that the more you put into your business and the more you take your business seriously, the more reward you will get. So even though it's a little bit costly to train the employees, it's something that we have to do, because as you said, in the future, it's going to change. People are going to go back into work. Places have to be sanitized, and employees, employee morale for a business needs to be boosted. Nobody's going to go back to a company that they feel is unsafe for them. So that I'm leveraging on that. I'm using that as a leverage to assure my employees that we'll be okay. That's really what I have to be doing.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Brown? She's told us a lot about her business and about how she's found the resources to make it happen. One of the things I liked that you said was the importance of investing in self. How has investing in yourself really kept you moving through these difficult times?
To be honest, there has been challenging times, especially when you have to invest in yourself. But over the years, trust me, we all have people who are not for our vision, but I've also been blessed to find people who believe in my vision. And so I invest in myself by going to them again for advice. I use my little toolbox that I have per se to use that as a way to guide me, to help me. Because again, as a single woman, as a woman-owned business, by the way, it is challenging for us. First of all, we employ the most people. In the US, we employ millions of people on a yearly basis. However, we get less than 30% funding. 60% of people are employed by businesswomen. And so not having those things to go to, I have to make sure that I use, again, my little toolbox to guide me, to keep me going. So that's kind of really how I keep going. It does get challenging. It does, there are times when you get frustrated and you want to give up. But again, I do a lot of research and I always have to implement new things.
So I've heard you talk about this toolbox. What kind of people are in your toolbox? What kind of professions do they hold? Are they friends and family, business acquaintances? So what kind of people do you think we all need in our toolbox?
So a lot of times we believe that our toolbox have to be scholars. They have to be some people at the top of something. But no, my toolbox is the guy that pulled on my gate that may say, hey, I see this machine that I think is really cool. And so I listen to it. My toolbox is my hairdresser. My toolbox is my professors. My toolbox is my attorney. My toolbox are people who live in a different country from me that I call childhood friends. So my toolbox are people that I know I can count on to just listen to me having a tough day in business and can just give me ideas, because so often we underestimate the people around us. You know what I'm saying? And we underestimate that, oh, that person can't give me a vision. So I don't always align myself with people who I feel have a degree like myself. No, I align myself with people that I believe has my best interests, believe in my vision, and want to help share my community. Because at the end of the day, to be honest, this is helping my community. I've been providing employment since 2011. I've employed over 500 people. Yes, this is a high turnover field, so probably that's why it's 500 people since 2011. But I've partnered with places such as Workforce One. By the way, I've gone to the library and so on. And so this is places where I get my information. And the Workforce One, the labor department, by the way, I get employees from them. So I try to find every little thing around me to use as a motivator for myself and my company.
Great. We have a comment in our chat box from fellow entrepreneur, Mr. Terrence Biggs, and he wants to salute your innovation. He salutes your innovation and creativity and encourage you to keep on reinventing yourself and your business.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Biggs. I appreciate that.
Any questions, any more questions or comments for our panelists here, for our speaker? Anything that you can close out with us, Shoshana, for today, because you gave us a lot of good information about the importance of investing in yourself and strategies to even raise investment and interest into a business, a small business like yourself.
Yeah, I can say continuously learning. As a woman business owner, I had to learn and I had to teach too. I had to teach other women to be strong, to be, just believe in their vision, because sometimes as women, and trust me, I've been discriminated a lot, especially in my field. I've gone on construction sites, construction sites to do bidding, and I have on yellow boots like them. I have on my Timberlands too. But guess what? They come and they sit on the table around me and they try to intimidate me. And they have some big words that it's just like a little crew. It's like a little inside thing with them. And they know these words. And even though they're bidding against each other, me, the little lady, is like a common enemy to them. So they create this little group and they have some little inside words. And I used to be intimidated. Don't get me wrong. I used to drive around sites and try to give up my business cards, and I would literally cry in my car before I go. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna talk down to me. I start putting on my Timberland boots too, and I start going in there too, and I start learning the big words, and I start saying them in the bid too, because guess what? I no longer look at myself as a female. I look at myself as an equal. You're a business owner, I'm a business owner. We have the same business, we have the same tools, we train our employee the same way. So do not be intimidated. Continuously learning, continuously growing, research, ask questions. I ask some of the dumbest questions sometimes, but I don't care, because you know what? When I ask them that dumb question, somebody will correct me and say, no, that's not how it is. And they'll teach me and I'll take that and I'll grow. Also, learn not to compare yourself to other women. The following speaker that's coming on, I won't talk her business, she's a fellow Brooklyn Chamber. She was on the program too. We both make money on the program. I never compared myself with her. As a matter of fact, I like her very much. So I don't compare myself with other women. We all have our own unique brand of how we do things, and we will succeed. And I'm pretty sure, because I see her success, I know she does not compare herself to me. Rather, she's very sweet. I started a meals program giving away free food to the community, and she reached out to me and offered to give money to the program. And I respect her for that, because I know she knows I'm a competitor. And, so she's not intimidated by me. I'm not intimidated by her. So we cannot compare ourselves to others. Focus, my grandmother always say, keep your eye on the prize. And that's what I do. Sometimes I make absolutely no sense. But I don't care, because at the end of the day, my end goal is to find out information that benefits me. Now I'm trying to talk as fast as possible because I see the time winding down. Now I realize now we're kind of short-staffed. So having now 15 employees on my watch, I realize that I'm not only doing this for me. One of my employee passed away early pandemic. I literally told her not to go to work, and I don't think that's why she died anyway. But I took that on personally, because that's one of my best employees that had stayed with me when business fluctuates. She's always there. So I put into my mind that I am not only doing this for myself and my family, I'm also doing this for other people that I employ. So just take these lessons, ask questions, do not be afraid to be vulnerable. Do your research and just believe in your brand and yourself. Once you believe in your vision, someone believed in me today to invite me on this platform. You know what I'm saying? Even if I ramble on, they believe in me enough to invite me here. So believe in yourself. You're not gonna get 100 people, on your bandwagon. You're gonna have haters, trust me. You're gonna have naysayers who's gonna put you down, but believe in yourself, and you will have that one person like Raquel Bennett to believe in you and invite you to their platform. Thank you guys so much for having me today.
You're welcome. I did see one question come in.
Can I just say something
Yes.
Ms. Brown recently graduated, but I just want you to share with the students who are still here. She was in SGA. She was in the PA, the head of the PA club. She was taking her classes full time. She was running her business. Now she's in grad school. Would you just share a little bit with them how you went through and how your grad school experience, and you're still running your business? Some people think they can't do it all. If you could just share how you did so much.
Time management. And by the way, Medgar Evers has wellness classes thanks to Miss Amani Reese. They always have these wellness programs to help women, especially women like myself with, you know, children and so on. They have these wellness classes and I will find myself in them. So take care of your well-being, time management. And by the way, trust me, I brag every day about Medgar Evers over at Rutgers because I really believe that Medgar Evers College, and it's not because I'm on this platform, I do brag about them. Check my social media way before this. I brag about them because I've really utilized the resources there. So again, I joined every little wellness group. They had yoga, they had all these things. There were places for me to vent about, you know, what's going on with me. So I dealt with my mental health. I asked for help all the time. I manage my time. There's 24 hours in a day, and I hate it when people say they don't have time. It's like one of my pet peeves. I hate it because we do have 24 hours in a day. And if we manage it, we can really accomplish. So I do have a 15-year-old who is on the honor roll. And I'm not talking his business because he ate when I talk about him, but he's on the honor roll. And it's because I have had to literally put in my book to remember to be on him to do his homework. So keeping a calendar, managing your time, do not be afraid to ask for help. By the way, I assigned Dean Roll, my mentor, without her consent. I assigned Dean Roll, my mentor, without her consent, okay? That's how I am. I saw something in Dean Roll. I knew that. And a lot of time I asked her, I would be running behind Dean Roll in the elevator to ask my one question. So just ask for help wherever you can get it, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
That one question that came up was, do you think businesses will all need to be disinfected before they open, and how you find yourself filling that role?
So I would be biased if I said yes, they all need to be disinfected, all because I want the money. But if you really practice, there's so much information out there. And if you can't afford a cleaning service, as mine and my fellow competitor to follow, there's resources out there. It's just best practices at this time right now. And still call me. I'll make sure your office is, you know, clean. My employees are certified. I stay on top of everything. I bought new machines. I'm continuously learning, as I said before. But yeah, just there are resources out there on how to just operate safely at this moment. Before you decided to go back into your office, have your employees fill out different, I wouldn't say waivers, but have forms such as where were they the last, you know, couple of months, where they traveled, who did they interact with, kind of, and also have a housekeeping form, like this is what is expected. Clean the counters after you leave the lunchroom, clean the restroom, and try to find that. Let it be kind of like a daily task. Don't put it on one person. If you don't have a janitorial in-house person, try to rotate this one person that clean the microwave, clean the refrigerator, and disinfect the door handles and so on.
Well, thank you.
Call me, by the way.
Thank you.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Be sure to put your information in the chat box just in case someone wants to call on you for future information.
I will. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Now we bring up, as Tashane Brown said, her competitor, Miss and MEC alum, Miss Ashley Warmington, who is a professor at Cleaning Company College and the founder of Cozy Oasis.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so I can share my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to talk about like surviving the financial challenges of COVID from the point of view of a business owner, but also from the point of view of someone who tried to consult other businesses all throughout 2020. So a little bit about me. I am owner of Cozy Oasis. I consult cleaning companies and small businesses, and I help with website and I'm a marketing strategist. What I want to talk about is just some of the basics for businesses, because there was a lot of grants, there was a lot of money going around last year, but businesses weren't, there were some businesses that were profitable, but they were cash businesses and they weren't prepared to actually apply for these loans, apply for these grants, apply for these things. And I just wanted to, like, before I even talk about like surviving these finance challenges, like things that you need to have in place in order to take advantage of these opportunities that are coming our way. I want to go into a little bit about business credit. That was something that I learned last year. I didn't really think about it before that. I was just thinking about cash flow and getting clients and marketing myself, but I never really focused on like what's your business credit and how that helps you in a crunch. A little bit about loans and grants, required paperwork, which is built off of the basics and business credit. And then something that a lot of people are dealing with is figuring out your direct-to-consumer strategy, because with COVID, the strategy that you were using before may not work now. So I wanted to talk about first, like, make sure you have incorporated your business, whether it's an LLC, an S Corp, C Corp, just make sure that is done. I came across a lot of businesses that didn't incorporate until after the pandemic started. And unfortunately, even though they were in business before the pandemic, because they incorporated afterwards, they weren't able to get some of the loans, even though they were in business. So you can go to these two websites. The first one's for incorporating. The second one tells you about what permits and licenses that your business needs. Like there was somebody who was selling plates of food and she was making a lot of money, but she didn't have a food handler's license. So even when somebody came to want to give her the money to help build it or something, she wasn't able to do that because that was missing. So just have those things in order before thinking about investors. Having an EIN. It's like a social security number for your business. It's free. It helps you file your taxes. It helps you open up bank accounts, which you need in order to get access to these loans. They will ask you for bank statements. It helps streamline your business loan application, your business credit file, and also you don't have to use your personal social security number for applications. You can use your business EIN. It helps separate your business funds from your personal funds. Having a business bank account. To avoid things like commingling, have a business bank account. You need your state ID, EIN, articles of incorporation, and depending on the bank, they're gonna ask you for like maybe $200, $250 just to open up. And once you do it, you can use the money right away. So it's really important because they're gonna ask you for bank statements. So 6 months, sometimes to a year worth of bank statements. So start on that as soon as possible. Building business credit. This is something that I had to do some research on. And the way to build this, let me talk about the benefits of business credit. Business credit is like a business credit score. So you have your personal credit score and then you have your business credit score. This is what banks, vendors, investors look at to determine how much money I should be giving you. So let's say your personal credit is not that great. You can work on your business credit. And when you present yourself to investors or you present yourself to getting a loan, they will be looking at your business credit. That's why you'll see people go into real estate and they're flipping homes and they're getting all this money to flip the homes. They're doing it off of their business credit, not their personal credit. So by building your business credit, you can get access to loans, better terms, better interest rates, access to cash, better terms with your suppliers, and it protects your personal credit score. This was essential for me during the pandemic because it helped building my business credit helped me build relationships with vendors, and I didn't have to put the debt that was going on my business on my personal credit because I had a business credit score. The way you do that is that you need to go to Duns & Bradstreet. You have to have a D&B number, and that's where your credit score is going to be reported. This is just a pretty much overview of what the purpose of a company's business credit is: to perceive ability to make good or financial obligations. This is just, it's basic, but definitely you have to do it. It will help you in the future. So to build your credit, you have to create a business or vendor account with your supplier. Your supplier could be Uline. Like for me, I run a cleaning company, so I can get mops, rags, brooms from Uline. But with a vendor account, I can buy now and pay later with a net 30 account. With that, I'm building a line of credit with that company, which then goes on my credit score. It's like no different than you taking out a credit card for yourself. I'm building my credit as my business. And as I do these types of the net 30 accounts with the vendors that I work with, I am showing my credibility as a business. So let's say during the pandemic, your clients are not able to pay their invoices on time, but you're getting more people requesting your business. I'm not getting the regular cash flow that I would normally get to then buy supplies. Things like a net 30 account, which is established with that vendor, would help me get time to get the supplies, do the job, and then be able to get paid. This type of stuff will help you in a crisis. You having this option, but you first have to incorporate, have your EIN, and also have a Duns & Bradley number so that you can start building your vendor account. One thing I also learned was loan and grant required paperwork. This is just an overview of some of the grants that were going on. They were giving away a lot of money, but you needed to have all this information ready, set to go. So even though you have a functioning business, great website, if you don't have this paperwork in order, it could be the thing that stops you from getting a lot of money. So definitely take a look at that. What else? I wanted to talk about this just to bring it up. QuickBooks, they have a teacher and student discount. So you can get QuickBooks free for 1 year. The reason why I mention this is because good bookkeeping will help you through this pandemic and into the future, because you need to look and see what services or products I'm offering that are actually more expensive than need be. Like, am I offering something that's putting me in the negative? I'm not charging enough. Is it a service that people aren't even using and I'm spending too much time marketing it? With QuickBooks, you get to see your revenue, you get to see your expenses, you get to see the whole overview of your financials. Even if you don't have a background in finances, you get to see the whole picture of your business to see what moves you need to make so that you can be more profitable. I did this, thankfully, right before the pandemic happened. I had to sit with myself and say, hey, you're offering a lot of great services for vacation rentals. It's great branding, you're doing great in that market, but what makes the most money here? And I realized cleaning was. So I was able to say, okay, let me scale back on the property management services that I was offering, because that was more manpower, that was more time, more energy, and I wasn't being properly paid for the level of service that I was providing. And I wasn't able to put more effort into what was profitable, which was cleaning. So when I did some more research, I said, okay, let's focus more on cleaning. I went into high-end cleaning, did a lot of residential, commercial, and through that, I was able to look at my book and say, okay, this makes more sense. Let me focus more on this area. Let me grow in this area. And that is what helped me to survive. When the pandemic hit, focusing on my business credit and focusing on what was actually profitable, that helped my business survive and helped me to know where I need to pivot and grow. Another thing I noticed was direct to consumer strategy. I wanted to talk about that because a lot of people are relying on places like Target to sell their products. And if you notice, a lot of Macy's, Bloomingdale's, they're shutting down. So a lot of those people who are relying on Macy's and Bloomingdale's to sell their products, they no longer exist. So you can no longer rely on somebody else selling your products. So you have to rely on your website, your web presence, your social media to build your business and to get people in. And this is for services and products. Like Amazon, they of course dominate direct to consumer path. Walmart, the way that they've been able to survive is that they've been doing both sides, both traditional retail store and also a direct to consumer. They actually partnered with Microsoft 365 last year so they can boost their web presence. And this is just some tips for people who have businesses. Just so that you know how to improve your direct to consumer strategy, having a quality website, working on your SEO, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's pretty much how Google indexes your page. So if I wanted to look up makeup artist in Brooklyn and I Googled that, what page on Google would you pop up? Would it be number 1 or number 10? With search engine optimization, with your blog or whatever keywords you use on your website, you can push the search results so that you can be on the first page if I'm looking for makeup artists in Brooklyn. Having a Google review page, putting out the content, videos. It doesn't matter what you do. Videos is now the new thing, whether it's TikTok or Instagram Reel. Having that type of content will help you with your direct to consumer strategy. Building your email list so that you can let people know about discounts, new offers, just let them know you're alive and that they can get if they're looking for something, they can get it from you just to remind them. Having a LinkedIn account, Facebook pixels. This is something that I'm not seeing a lot of people do. If you go on a, doesn't matter what website, like Macy's, and you're looking for a dress, you all of a sudden notice that when you're on Facebook, you see Macy's ads popping up. That is Facebook pixels. What you do, you go in Facebook Ad Manager, and they give you a code to embed into your website. So every time somebody visits your website, they capture that information, and then you can then advertise to that person on their Facebook page. That's really important because they say it takes about 7 times for somebody to see you before they purchase from you, especially if they don't know your business. So that's key when it comes to marketing. And then invest in social media ads. That's really important. Like I was just talking to a client yesterday about, instead of spending $5 a day for 5 days on an ad, you just wasted $25 versus saving up and spending maybe $200 on an ad for maybe 2 or 3 days so that you can actually be seen when it comes to Instagram and Facebook. Another method that I really advise for people to try to survive what's going on is outdoor markets. If you have an actual product, look at pop-ups, look at outdoor markets, get your product in the face of people safely in outdoor markets. The summertime is coming. They're going to be all over. Brooklyn Museum is going to have one, I think, every Sunday. There's some at Prospect Park. They're all over. And that's an opportunity to gain a new customer who can go from meeting you at a pop-up or outdoor market and then going to buy your stuff on your website. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to, I know that was a lot, but I wanted to just give like a rundown of certain things that I've learned in the past year. And it always seems impossible until it's done. That's something I tell myself. It's the boring part of business, but it's the thing that if I didn't do it, I would not have been able to take advantage of some of the grants or money that was going, or I wouldn't even be able to apply, even though I got rejected a lot. There were tons of grants out there, but I was able to confidently apply because I had certain things in place. So that's about it, and I'm just ready for questions.
Yes, we do have one question from thus far from Terrence Biggs, and he wants to know or wants you to explain how important project management is to an entrepreneur and which project management app you use for your business. That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, can you also share about the need and need for a quality CRM system? And he thanks you for your presentation.
Okay, so for project management, okay, so that is like, honestly, I look at my finances. That QuickBooks is how I do project management. I look at what is making sense. And then I used to use HubSpot, just really Google Docs, and honestly, QuickBooks. It's like, what's making sense and what do I need to do? What do I need to cut out? And then honestly, you know, you can do like a mini kind of business plan, like a one-page or business plan for that idea. But until you do it, you know, you can of course do risk management. That is something that you should always do. Figure out what are the risks of doing certain things. Like, for example, okay, I wanted to build out going into commercial cleaning. Okay, what are the risks of that? Let me list off, how does that affect my insurance? What type of training do I need to do for my people? What type of advertisements do I need to have to boost that type of service for my company? Commercial cleaning is a wide field. Who do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on banks? Do you want to focus on gyms? And then I kind of crunch the numbers and then go from there. And can you also say about the need for a quality CRM system? I think that's definitely something that I'm lacking. I use mainly, so my website's Wix, and they have a CRM kind of built in where people can subscribe. I honestly, yeah, quality CRM system is really important because people need to know what you do. People need to hear from you several times, and that takes a lot of work to write the blogs, to get the posts, to follow up with people who say, hey, I don't need your service, but then you follow with them 6 months from now, they may need it. So yeah, I definitely think that it's much needed. No matter what product or service you need, you need a quality CRM because you never know. I've had clients that came back to me. I did a cleaning for them like 2-3 years ago, and then they came and reached out like, listen, I've been doing the cleaning myself, but now I need some help. So do you want to work with me? And I'm like, in my mind, and this happened recently, and I'm like, I really need to think of a different, I should have reached out to them first before they reached out to me. So definitely, quality CRM system is important.
Someone wants to know if you can share your presentation, and in particular, can you show the grant slide again?
Okay, Ashley, this is Dean Roll. You shared a little bit of your story, hey, but you didn't. They don't know. Some people may be on and not business majors, and they don't know that you're not a business major, even though you got an MBA now. So would you share with your path a little bit so they know anywhere you are, you could start from where you are. Just
Yes, that's honestly. So I was nowhere near business. I tell this to everybody. I'm like, listen, I spoke to her for 10 minutes. I was like, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. This is where we're. And it started with talking to Dean Roll. It started with the Full Bridge program. What was that, back in 2014? 2014, and doing that and being.
It was more like 2015 or 2016, somewhere around there. 2015.
2015, and it was a week-long boot camp, and it just busted everything wide open for me because I realized it's possible. It's very possible for you to start a business. It requires work ethic, which, I mean, one thing I could say within our community, we have that. The one thing that has always been a big issue for us is information. That's the reason why I did this whole thing, because it's like information, that's it. It's really just like, if the amount of companies I come across, that if you've been doing this business for so long, you have a client base, you have all these things. Anybody could be an entrepreneur. It's just learning how to create a sustainable business, learning how to grow your business. That's gonna just take time and doing. Like it doesn't. You don't have to be a genius to do this, but you do have to have a work ethic, and you have to be persistent, because no matter what business you have, you're gonna get knocked down so many times. So you have to be used to getting knocked down and getting back up. I mean, I'm just like, for me, when I wake up, I'm like, 5 years? Like, the amount of times I've been knocked down, the amount of times I've had clients stolen, people not show up for cleaning. I've had clients try to cheat me. I've had all the stories in the world, but it's like, it's okay. I'm alive. I'm breathing. As long as you're breathing, you can do this. As long as you push, you can do this. This is like, so I started back in 2015. We're focused on Airbnb management. I learned all about the industry. I mean, I had no background in it with her, but by doing and keep going, I learned. And with each stage, you go through a stage of starting the business. You go to the next stage of hiring people. That's a whole nother stage. You got to learn legally and mentally. You got to learn marketing. You learn all different aspects of the business. And the further you go, when you look back, you realize the things that you were complaining about or worried about was not that big of a deal. Like, it really wasn't. It's just a part of the journey. Like, every time you hit a roadblock, just understand you're not going to get to success without it being rough. Like, just accept that and say, okay, what do I need to learn? What do I need to go to keep pushing? Cry a little bit, take a nap if you need to, drink some coffee, and then get back at it. But I'm telling you, it's the truth. Like, you could do this, but information is key. Ask questions. Like Ms. Brown said, ask questions. Nothing is stupid. And the people who know more than you, they were in your shoes at one point or another. Don't think that somebody just was born with more knowledge. They had to go through the same thing that you did. It's just that they're in a different space right now. So ask the question, because even when asking the question, you may come up with a new way of handling something that they didn't know. So ask questions, do your research. I think right now I'm definitely focused on building my bag of tools when it comes to people, learning from people. It's a process. It's definitely a process, but it doesn't matter what business it is, what product you're offering. It's all a journey, and you really can do it. But please get your business, your bank account. I'm telling you, there's money there for you. There's grants there for you. I don't care if you're accountant, lawyer, it doesn't matter. If you're doing office supplies, build a vendor account with these, I think it's Suma Supplies. Get a vendor account with them and start building your business credit. It will help you down the line. It will give you a 30-day breathing room. You know, sometimes they can even do 90 days depending on how long you've been working with that vendor, but it will help you. So definitely. Any other questions?
Just a comment. This is Rowan Fenelon.
Hi, Rowan.
Ashley, I just want to thank you for a brilliant presentation. One thing we learned from Medgar Evers and the social entrepreneur dean role, great dean role, is networking. And I must say, yes, we actually network from since the days I met you at Medgar Evers. Yes. I didn't know who Ashley was, and I was working with you on your business, etc. I saw it develop from small to what it is. I just want to thank you for always reaching out. If I don't know something or I need an opinion, I know I could always reach out to you. And Dean will always emphasize that networking. So I think all of us in that EL group, we still do that. So I just wanted to thank you for that and to encourage you to keep going. And a big shout out to Dean Rule for this great session we have, and it is really, really awesome. Thank
Seriously, you. If you guys have your LinkedIn, you should be putting them in the chat so that we can all connect with each other. Definitely having your LinkedIn page set up so that you can connect with people. That is a huge tool. And also Rowan, he's a part of my bag of tools, because I remember talking to him And I didn't get it at the time, and it took me a couple months, but that's how sometimes knowledge works. He said to me, he said, Ashley, don't forget about cash flow. Revenue is great, but don't forget about cash flow. And he said it about 4 or 5 times in our conversation. And I was like, yeah, I got this. I got my revenue. I'm doing good. Like, and he's like, cash flow. And cash flow, let me tell you, during this pandemic, I'm sure everybody learned about cash flow and how important that is. So definitely having people be able to drop some wisdom on you every now and again. Rowan has definitely been that person in my life who's been able to just, whisper it on in. It may take a little bit for it to like hit for me to get it, but definitely that's something, if you really want to learn about business, I think understanding, I wanted to talk about that, but I'm not an expert enough to really give away the knowledge that's needed, but cash flow is really important. Definitely, if anybody has time, YouTube it, learn a little bit about it. It's more important than just like your revenue. Are there any other information?
Arlette wanted to let everyone know that you're a pitch competition winner.
Oh, yes, pitch competitions. Definitely, please take advantage of them. Please do it. It's good practice. And I think the best part about it is the critique. Because you want to hear, you're giving your sometimes it's like 5 minutes spiel about your business, and you can hear from people from different fields who can see the holes in your business that you're not able to see because you're in your business. So I think, I don't remember, there used to be this conference that would happen once a month where people would get the opportunity to present in front of investors, and you can sometimes just sit in the room and listen. And I forgot what the name of this company was. They used to send out emails like every month to let people know to come and present. Somewhere in Manhattan, but please take advantage of that, because it doesn't matter if you win or not. You need to get the critique. It's free. You're getting the critique for free. You're getting to improve your business. You're pretty much getting a free consultation if you think about it from somebody who's well into the business, and you could probably be getting a mentor or a potential investor in the future. So definitely take advantage of the pitch competitions. That's something I like to do because I believe in my business, and I want to tell people about it when I get the chance. Any other questions? Any other things that people want to know from business mindset as an individual? Anything at all? Any way I can help?
This is Dean Rose. I just want to give a quick shout out to Miss Raquel Bennett. I've heard a couple of you folks say thank Dean Rose, but Dean Rose isn't the magic magician. We have a whole host of people that pull the conference together, but the team leader, the one who makes it happen, and she's still watching the time. She's the guardian. Is Miss Bennett.
Questions have been great.
Real thanks to Miss Bennett.
Yes.
Well, thank you all. Thank you, Ashley, for such a powerful presentation. I hope all of your questions have been answered. If not, there'll be a chance for you to put those questions in the chat box, and we will follow up with getting those answers to you. Next, I'd like to bring up my colleague, my committee member, Beverly Davis, who will reintroduce Miss Vicki Frazier, who is going to be leading us in the conversation about breaking the cycle. So go ahead, Beverly. You're muted, Beverly.
It is my pleasure to reintroduce Vicki Frazier Williams again. I mean, she's a natural. She's very compassionate about what about her subject matter, and she's an expert. So please listen intently. Thank you so much, Vicki.
Well, thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Beverly, much. And I want to thank also Raquel we haven't actually met directly, but I also want to say congratulations to the school overall for a successful day. Actually, I've been working, but in the background, I've had you all playing the whole time, and I'm excited about the information I've heard from your students and otherwise. So I'm excited about it. Dean Roll, I haven't met you either, but still, I just think this is so great. I'm glad to be a part of it. So thank you very much for that. Look, I put together a PowerPoint that I was going to share, and I am going to share with you all. But as I listened more and more, and I even thought about the fact that I'm the last person on the schedule today, I really want you all to hear some things that you will take away, I pray, and think on it, and then actually even move on it. And I think the best way for me to do that is to really introduce you to who I am, why I'm passionate about what I do, and how. And the best way to do that is to give you that background. So despite my advanced degrees, despite my career, 20-year career in television, and now in financial planning, I grew up not believing or thinking that my family didn't have much. I mean, we had a roof over our heads, we had food on the table, we had clothes on our backs. And today, what I know, we had more than anything else, we had mama and daddy in the household. And that today, I understand, is probably the greatest part of my upbringing. My father was a hardworking mechanic from Arkansas who came to the big city of West Palm Beach and married my mom, who was a stay-at-home wife for the vast majority of her life, raising 5 of us, born pretty close between, to each other. I didn't know then, as I know now, that my mother and father had at the core of their marriage a scripture that I believe so heartily in today, and that is that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. You see, Daddy seemed to always be working. In fact, he would go from Nassau to the Bahamas, Miami to the Bahamas, taking care of a fleet of buses over there for a wealthy businessman. He did a gas station in Miami and a body shop, and ultimately he taught auto mechanics while mama stayed home. You see, Daddy wanted to make sure when we came home at the end of the day, someone was there. I know how important that is today. I didn't understand or know how his work outside the family, outside the household, and mama's work inside the family, inside the household, would come together in such a powerful way later on. You see, 1 month before my mom and dad would celebrate their 60th wedding anniversary, mama was with daddy longer than she was with her mama and daddy. But a month before they were to celebrate this milestone, my father passed away of pancreatic cancer. And I remember when Daddy called us all to his bedside in the hospital and talked to us one-on-one and said this was his time now, that he was leaving, but that we'd all be all right, we'd be okay. And he talked to my mom. We stood there and he said, Pearl, don't worry about a thing. I got you. You'll be all right. And of course, we thought, well, of course, because Daddy was always a good provider, so of course. But it was in the days and weeks and even years after that we fully came to understand what Daddy meant by that. You know what? I started to find money all over Mom and Dad's house. I remember a walk-in closet that I went to, and Daddy had a wallet in there that had about $10,000 in cash. I found money all over the house, but on top of that, there were bank accounts with hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. There were life insurance policies. There were annuities and long-term care policies, none of which did they really talk to us about until I started to see that. 14 months later, my mother passed away. They've been married for so long. They were so connected. And it was then that I started to see some things. I remember there was a bank account. We couldn't quite figure out who that bank account was for, what it was supposed to do. My sister and I took my mom at that time to the bank to figure it out. And we tried every combination we could think of to try to break the code, open Pandora's box. And we eventually did. And sitting in that account alone was another $50,000. Now, this was a man that if you'd seen my daddy in his overalls, you would never know his net worth was as high as it was. We, their children, didn't even know ourselves. But they spent that time working together and building and making sure their assets were protected, first and foremost, through life insurance. And so today I look at the fact that when my mom and dad left here, they were 100% debt-free. My mother and father left a fully paid off home for each one of their 5 children. They left money for us as well. And so out of that, it's made me understand and believe and become totally passionate about talking to our community about why there are things that we have to do. See, I live in Florida, and we have hurricanes, right? It's one of the things that's helped me understand how I need to help people understand that we've got to prepare for the what ifs. We got to be ready for that unknown that we don't know about. And I was a grown woman before I understood it on the level I understand it now. So I can't help but say that if a country boy, farm boy, and his stay-at-home wife could put together an estate plan that to this day is keeping us not only above water, but doing well. What's the reason why more of us aren't doing exactly that? I was on an earlier panel today in which we talked about estate planning, and I've said to people, don't let estate scare you, because that word just simply means laying out how you want the things that you work so hard to do to be doled out. And thank God my mom and dad did that. And today it fuels the passion for what I do. In the last 6 years, I've lost 6 of my loved ones, starting with my dad. And so we have the grief of leaving and losing mom and dad, but they didn't leave debt. They didn't leave a legacy that caused us to have to sell off our family home or anything like that. And those are the reasons why the thing that I put together for you all in terms of a PowerPoint is dealing with, very simply, 7 myths. There are a whole bunch of them out there, but 7 myths that I think persist in our community. And unfortunately, in too many ways, it has a profound, or they have a profound impact on our community and some of the decisions we make. They are perceptions, they are myths, they are not facts. And a lot of times when we hear people even bring up the word life insurance, you know, their eyes glaze over and they're ready to like, oh my God, oh no, you know, I don't want to talk about that. I've had all kinds of things said to me about life insurance. And so we're going to walk through some of those. We're going to count down 7 of the most common misperceptions about life insurance. I'm going to try to share my screen with you. Please tell me if you got it. Do you?
We do. We have it.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. And I'm calling it Breaking the Cycle, 7 myths about building wealth and life insurance. So how do I want to start that? I want to start by telling you the vast majority of the majority community out there have been building wealth through life insurance for ages. And yet, for many of us, we start by thinking, well, that's just something that I just need enough to bury me. And so I want you to know that's not the case. So let's count down. The first one myth: the Lord will provide. Therefore, I don't need to take any action. Well, that is a look. We are called to be good stewards. No question about that, right? So we're supposed to steward our money and our talent and our treasure in a good way. However, too often, what happens? We are confusing trusting in God with relinquishing our personal responsibility. Our personal responsibility to do, in this case, as I say, and believe that my parents did, and that was to make sure they left us okay. When we fail to take action to protect those that depend on us, then the consequences could be devastating. And bear with me, guys, as I quote from 1 Timothy. But if anyone does not provide for this household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. I believe that. Myth number 6, life insurance is a bad investment. And the fact of the matter is, it is one of several financial tools, several. It is primarily designed to provide protection. Investments are designed to accumulate wealth. And while certain life insurance policies accumulate cash, the primary use is for protection. Life insurance is there when a person does not have the time to accumulate sufficient funds to take care of his or her family obligations. And even after accumulating wealth, it can be one of the most important tools of efficiently passing your wealth on to others and to the next generation. My husband and I happen not to have any children. So forgive me, Medgar Evers, but FAMU is a beneficiary, for instance, of on one of my policies. The key here is sound planning based on your situation, not on a one size fits all. So let me be clear also, it's not an investment in the way that we typically think of investments. So you need to use the right tool for the right job. And while life insurance is not an investment, neither are investments life insurance. They are not interchangeable, and like any tool, should be used properly, right, for the purposes for which the tool was designed. Myth number 5, I have coverage through work. I'm all set, and it's enough. I hear that so much. And yet, I usually follow that with, well, what happens when you don't have the job anymore? When the job goes away, right? The main objective of your company benefit is to attract and to keep employees. So the employer benefit plan doesn't consider your specific circumstances or situations of your family. And by depending on what the company gives, you place yourself and your family's well-being on the decisions of your employer. So the question you must decide for yourself is this the wisest position for me to be in? I skipped over one, sorry, right? And whose responsibility is it to take care of your family? Your employer? The government? Your family? Nobody? Or you? In my days of reporting, I did a lot of GoFundMe campaign stories. And I understand there's some people in our community who will need that. But I've become bolder and bolder as I do this work to say, if you've got a job, if you've got money coming in, if you've got a flow, then it's on you to plan for that. Because it really isn't the community's job to take care of your loved ones. It's yours. Myth number 4. My parents didn't leave me anything and I work hard. My kids can make their own way. They're on their own. My first client said that to me, and it bothered me greatly. It bothered me greatly. You brought them into the world. You work hard for what you do. So why leave your children to start from scratch? You know, it's just possible that our parents may not have had the luxury of good counsel. And good counsel is out there. That's in the Bible too, right? That you know, we should have good counsel. We should have people tell us or help us to know what it is we're supposed to be doing and help us figure out and guide us through. So a lot of times people say, my family didn't leave me anything, so, you know, they're going to do it themselves. It's on them to do it. And that's a sad commentary to me. The reality is there's Timothy again, but if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he is denied the faith and worse than an unbeliever. Many of you might know Dr. Miles Monroe before he passed. I love his quote. He said, if you die with your wealth, you are a generational thief. So we talk about an inheritance. We talk about being good stewards. Being a good steward is taking care of the money, the talent, the treasures, the time that you give. Miles Monroe also said that he asked the question, where is the richest place on earth? And you might have heard this. And he says the richest place on earth is in the cemetery, because a lot of people go to their deaths carrying what they have or what they made, as opposed to doling it out the way it should be. Myth number 3, if I leave them a lot of money, they will spend it on somebody. And hopefully this will make you laugh, but I've had some people say to me, I'm not leaving any money for her to spend on him or for him to spend on her. So why should I leave them this money? And the reality is, if you don't leave enough money, this may leave the opportunity for someone to come in and take advantage of your family. Not leaving enough may leave your family in dire straits, having to take and make tough choices, like having to sell property, their home, having to depend on what we call, and I think I have it in this next, no, I don't, depend on RFC, that's relatives, friends, and charity. A child or children not being able to attend college, and those are just a few of the things that you're gonna have to make choices with. One of the homes my parents left was the home I grew up in. And their whole thing was, we want you to be able to stay here. We want this to be a family that stays in the house, in the family. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, the true measure of a man is not how he behaves in moments of comfort and convenience, but how he stands at times of controversy and challenges. So if families and businesses and our institutions, I believe, are to grow and to prosper, to help future generations, we must be people of character with a long-term view and look beyond the emotions of the moment, whatever they may be. Myth number 2, they will just blow it all anyway, right? I mean, I have written a couple of $1 million policies for young people, and the value of that is, you know, we're not looking for these young people to pass. These days, anything can happen. But with that money, what happens is families are able to continue on. Now, this says they will just blow it anyway. And there's some articles out there that talk about how people who get large sums of money often run through it in 5 years or less. I'm going to say that most of those are those lottery winners, right? That we know within 5 years or so, they are out of money. But life insurance is not the same as winning the lottery. And the reference, I think, is used only to relate to receiving a large windfall. But what we have to be careful about doing is making sure that legacy planning begins with education. A lot of what you're doing today, a lot of what I hope you're getting out of what I'm saying, it begins with education. And we've got to learn so that we can continue to influence generations to come. And I told you there are things that my mom and daddy didn't tell us outright. And I like to say that if mama gets it, everybody gets it. Because typically, mama's gonna make sure she tells her young. If there are serious concerns regarding how, for instance, a beneficiary would handle the benefits, then there are tools that we can utilize to prevent the outright squandering of funds. In an earlier panel that I was on, we talked about estate planning, so things like trust and wills, which, and this may sound interesting, but it allows you to, frankly, govern from the grave. It says what you expect to happen to what you've done with your hard work, your money, and your assets. So, as I said, it begins with education. And lastly, myth number one. I hear this all the time. I only need enough insurance to bury me. That is a fallacy. It is a fallacy. It is perhaps the most common myth out there, that I just need enough to cover the cost of a funeral and that's it. But if we look at your self-worth and the value, the economic value, it's what we call human value. If you look at a 35-year-old who's making $50,000 a year, they will earn $1.5 million by the time they reach age 65, and that's if they never get a raise. So you're making $50,000, you're going to make $1.5 million over your lifetime. So if something, though, happens to you, that income, if it's dependent, if your family is dependent upon it, what happens then? Most of us don't realize how much money we make over a lifetime. And that's actually called human capital or human value. And it is the value of your expected future earnings. And for many people, that can be the largest asset you have. So we need to consider that just putting you in the ground is not the most important. Well, it's important, but you know what I'm saying. Insurance has been one of the most cost-effective ways of protecting assets from catastrophic loss. I do a lot today with long-term care. And, statistics say that the vast majority of us will need some kind of extended care before we leave here. And so my questions become, who's going to take care of you if you need that kind of care? And where's the money going to come from? And who's going to pay for it? And if you're blessed to have children, maybe you say, well, you know what, they're going to take care of me. But think about what that says and what that means. It says that your child, your daughter, your son have to leave their life pretty much to take care of you, when in fact, there's some things that we can put in place early. Life insurance is considered an asset class. It is one of those things that in fact goes into your trust, into your will. So the ramifications of saying, all I need is something to bury me with, it provides a false sense of security. You think, well, I got enough to do that, so I don't have to worry about anything else. And it takes the onus off of you to plan and to put some things in place for your family and your future generations. It can close your mind to further discussion about estate planning and about the things that need to be in place for you and for your family going forward. And of course, it means that every generation then has to start from scratch. And I would say to you that we need to leave our children on better footing than that, and we can do that. So my last question to you is, will you be the one to address some of these beliefs and the impact they have on our community? Because the more we know and the more we share what we know, it gives us an opportunity as a community to move beyond where we see many of us at today. I'd like you to really consider that. So I'll take any questions. I will say to you as I'm closing that our agency, Fraser Williams Financial Group, is my husband and I. And we really like to tell folks that your family legacy is our family business. And we're certainly focused on, I think the greatest thing that I offer to people that spend time with me is to get you to stop and just focus. Let's spend some time and see exactly where you are, exactly where you want to go. And I'm going to stop sharing. Where you want to go and what it's going to take to get you there. Young people, if you're on this call still, it is never too early for you to plan. It's never too early for you to think about legacy. And we don't know what's in front of us, but you can start planning now. And I wish all the best to you as you do exactly that.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
You're welcome.
We have a question in the chat box,
Okay.
one that came from one of our attendees naturally. It is, does your license allow you to work with international clients, say expats outside of the United States?
Yes, there are all kinds of compliance issues we have to deal with. We deal with a lot. I deal with a lot of international folk. I'm here in South Florida, so we have everybody in South Florida. One of the reasons I'm doing the presentation is I'm licensed in New York. One of my sorority sisters, I believe, was going to present for you guys, but she's not licensed there. So the main thing is I have to be licensed in order to even talk about what I'm talking to you about. And so, yes, I have international clients and would love to do a consultation with you on any of this.
What do you say to people who are no longer young or youngish, who need insurance but have underlying health issues that make it seem as if life insurance policies, payments are out of their reach? What do you recommend to them?
Well, the first thing I recommend is that you talk to someone, please, like myself, but an advisor of some kind. Yes, there are all kinds of life insurances, right? Whole life insurance is that permanent insurance. It has guaranteed cash value that I can flip a switch at some point and it becomes income, a lifetime income for me. But if you're further along in age, or if you have health issues, a couple of things, I might not even be able to get you approved, right? The second thing is it may be too expensive. However, there are things like universal life. That is something we can do. It costs a little bit less than whole life. And that has to be something that you're more concerned about, you're leaving a legacy, leaving money, not trying to take money out of it along the way. And there are also annuities, which has nothing to do with your health. We're able, and we have some things now that has a life insurance component to it as well. So you can, everything is dependent upon what it is, what's your goal? What are we trying to do? Are you trying to leave money for someone? Trust me, we can help you with that. And it's not always tied to your life insurance health status.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? We got 2 minutes left for this segment of the conference, and I know we received a lot of good information. And I see a hand raised, Ayana Weeks.
Hi, I was just wondering, Ms. Williams, is it possible to get your information to possibly maybe set up an appointment with you or anything along that line?
Well, you have to know that's absolutely, the answer is yes. So I'll put it in the chat. I primarily, just so you'll know, since all of you guys are there in New York, I primarily work through New York Life Insurance. We are now 175 years old, which is huge. We have been around and going to be around. We've been through more than one pandemic. And the amazing thing, and just let me share this with you, the amazing thing that I'm finding out about us is that we really mean that we are in it for you. You know, when the pandemic happened, and it was literally a situation of here today, gone today, New York Life instituted a process all of last year that said, we will not let anybody's policy lapse. So if you were out of a job, you couldn't pay whatever, it didn't matter. And we have paid millions of dollars in the last year. I had a number of people who lost their jobs and couldn't keep up their life insurance policies. But for my clients, I'm glad they heard what I said. It's about talking to me and let's figure out how we can keep that in place. And so New York Life just put the no lapse policy in, and it's still in place right now. We've also started a Brave of Heart Fund, which is intended for anybody in the healthcare or first responder community that have experienced death as a result of this pandemic. We have a fund that's paying out money to them regularly to help them. We can't deal with, we can't do anything about losing a loved one and the grief that that brings. But this company is well positioned and wants to be able to be there financially for our policyholders.
Thank you. This has been marvelous. I know some of us will be reaching out to you to help us reconcile we're not going to leave any money to anyone because they'll waste it on somebody. I won't say that's me. That's not me, but that's not me. But but for others, yeah, but for others.
And you know what, Raquel, y'all had such great young people who have their own job. Businesses. Those young folk. Don't skip by life insurance. Don't skip by your succession plan for your business. Right? There's some things that you need to put in place. In the same way you're talking about your bank accounts and your business accounts and stuff like that, there are things like business continuation insurance, that if something happens, people are going out of business like crazy. So we have an advanced planning group with attorneys and accountants at no cost to you. They'll do everything from buy-sell agreements to key man insurance to make sure if something happens to you, we've got this succession plan that you spent all this time putting together. We want to make sure it lives on beyond you, if that's what you want as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. We've had a full day with wonderful speakers, wonderful moderators. I want to thank the committee again for being a part of this. I want to thank Dean Roll for making all of this happen today. And I want and I hope to see everyone back tomorrow because there's more and there's more to learn and more to hear. And again, my name is Raquel Bennett and I am out of the Dean's office in the School of Business. And I am the person that deals with the student development and student engagement for the School of Business. And I want to thank you all for making this a success. We're going to close out with some music to get you moving. Any questions that were not answered, I want you to put them in the chat box so that we can get them to our speakers and panelists and get the answers back to you. But I want to send you off with a good vibe. Thanks to our DJ Chudney Shatta for supplying us with some music. And he is one of our contacts, Sharifa Clark. I call Sharifa Clark the student ambassador, the unofficial student ambassador for Medgar Evers College School of Business. She is the one that get a lot of this stuff going for us and inspires us the same way the alum have that you've heard this afternoon. They inspire us to do all these wonderful things. And again, thank you so much. And questions that weren't answered, put them in the chat box and you'll have some time. I'm going to leave the Zoom open for you and we will get those questions answered for you.
Real quick, I want to say thank you to those of you who've been here all day. I can see some of the names. At least your names was up all day. It's been wonderful being with you. I see alumni been with us all day. I see faculty been with us all day. I see students who've been with us all day. It's been an amazing day. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you. And I echo Raquel. I hope to see you tomorrow for more fabulous information and time in this conference. Thank you. And I did get up, but I turned my camera off. I will dance, but I will turn my camera off.
Great. Sharifa, you wanted to say something?
Oh, no. I was just,
She's on vacation.